The unconscious has infinite repertoires of structure already. All it needs is a little external structure on which to crystallize. One of the most influential books that I've come across over the last few years is a book by improvisational violinist Stephen Nachmanovich called Free Play: Improvisation in Life and Art. I came across this book during my music therapy training, and in it are some wonderful chapters on life and art and the creative process in general. One chapter in particular I want to draw upon today, which I credit for the name of this video, The Power of Limits. I want to talk a bit today about restrictive practice when it comes to practicing and playing our instruments, and how by narrowing the constraints on ourselves, by limiting the material that we have at hand, it can actually free us in other dimensions and help us to play in more free and creative ways when improvising at the piano. The limits are either rules of the game to which we voluntarily accede, or circumstances beyond our control that demand an adaptation. We use the limits of the body, of the instrument, of conventional forms and of new forms that we ourselves invent, as well as the limits created by our collaborators, the audience, the place in which we play, and the resources available to us. This is a slightly different video to one I would do normally, as I currently don't have access to my piano. The irony isn't lost on me, as I don't have all my resources to hand, and therefore I am having to adapt my creative process in order to still get videos out. So restricted practice, in terms of musical context, is where we take something like approaching a solo on a piece that we're currently learning, but we restrict the demands placed on ourselves. If we're looking to improvise on a blues or a standard, there are ways that we can limit the material in order to help us practice certain concepts. If you have all the colours available, you are sometimes almost too free. With one or more dimensions constrained, play becomes freer in other dimensions. By placing limits on ourselves, we allow our unconscious to become creative in other areas, and then it can unlock new ways of playing. It can also be a lot of fun. So, as I don't have access to my piano, I'm not going to be able to show you any of these ideas, but I still think it would be useful for me to talk through them and to at least list them. So first we'll start with this idea of rhythmic restriction. Yeah, so we're taking some of the rhythmic ideas and we are using those as our constraints when we're approaching solos. So this could include playing strictly in minims or crotchets, quavers, semiquavers, triplets, etc. Yeah, so when we're soloing, we're limiting ourselves to a specific rhythm. Yeah, so whether that's playing only in crotchets for an entire chorus, and then maybe playing in quavers for the next chorus, and then maybe semi-quavers for the chorus after that, etc. Another idea is at the start of our solos we might come up with a simple rhythmic motif, but then the idea is that we keep that rhythmic motif for the entire chorus. Yeah, so the rhythmic idea will stay the same, but the melody and the harmony will change depending on the chords that are underneath. Yeah, so let's look at some melodic or harmonic ways that we can restrict our playing. We can restrict ourselves to certain scales, so we could do an entire chorus using just the pentatonic scale, for example, or just the blues scale. We could limit ourselves to only using certain modes. We could restrict ourselves to using just chord tones. We can use what's called target notes, where we choose a particular chord tone. For example, it could be the root, the third, the flat seventh, the ninth, and we make sure to always land on a new chord on that chord tone. Yeah, so for example, if you're going from, I don't know, C minor 7 to F, and your chosen target note is the third, then you know that going from C minor 7 to F7, you're going to be going from E flat, which is the third of C minor 7, to A, which is the third of F7. Yeah? Another idea is this idea of call and response. So playing call and response with yourself creating a kind of monotonic dialogue. So for an entire chorus, you may do like a 2-bar call, and then you improvise a 2-bar response to that call. Or you could do 1 bar or 4 bars. Another idea is to kind of limit the range at which you're playing. Yeah, so you could choose a scale, or you could limit yourself within the range of a 4th, or a 5th, or an octave, or even a minor 3rd. Yeah, so today's video has been a little bit different to the usual videos that I would record, but I thought it'd be interesting, seeing as I am limited in my resources and that I don't have my piano, that it might be interesting to explore this topic of the power of limits and how having limits and constraints imposed upon ourselves can actually open up new options for art and creativity for us. If you've enjoyed this video, if you made it this far, then thank you. It would be great if you could leave a like or comment if that's useful for you. But stay tuned for future videos where I'll be delving more into my series on chord voicings. You can check out some more videos here right now.